Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'll be showing us how to draft pattern for princess that's bustier. Please subscribe to my channel if you haven't. I'll be dropping more of this kind of content. Please subscribe to my channel as this will help me grow. Thank you. Now let's get back on track.
The first thing we're going to do now is to fold our fabric into two and then impute our shoulder measurement. That's 14 inches divided by 2 and we have 7 inches. I'm just going to go ahead and mark that 7 inches point and then impute the shoulder depth. I mentioned earlier that I love to use 8 inches, so we're going to put 8 inches here and then we'll draw a line connecting the start point and then the end of the armhole like I'm doing here. And then we're going to draw a line underneath it so we'll be able to draw a curve. And the next thing we're doing now is impute the width of the neck. We're using 3.5 inches and 3 inches depth. That's how deep I want it to be. It's going to be a round neck up, so there's no need for any other drama. So I'm just going to connect the line now from the depth to the width of the top. And so the next thing we're going to do now is to mark out each point for measurement. Let's include the chest point, breast point, underbust point, the half length points. I'm just going to go ahead and mark this point out here and draw a line for you guys to see. I'm going to label it later on in the video. You'll see everything I'm talking about here, just in case you did not follow. And now I'm just going to go ahead to impute the measurement I'll be working with. For the breast point, I think the bust size is about 38 inches, the under bust is about 32 inches, and the half length is about 32 inches. I think something like that. I don't remember the exact measurement anymore. So we're going to impute this measurement and add extra 2 inches allowance to sewing allowance to this measurement. So that's exactly what I'm doing over here. Not to forget, this measurement I mentioned earlier, you divide them into 4. So that's like 38 inches divided into 4. We have about 9.5. Then you add 2 inches allowance. That's what you're going to do for the rest of the measurements you're including. Make sure you divide it into 4, then add 2 inches allowance. And the next thing I'm going to do now is connect this point, as you can see in the video. And the next thing we're going to do now is to take half the measurements of the armhole we did earlier. And you know the length was 8 inches, so the half of it is 4 inches. And then you connect from that point down to the end of the armhole, and then just above that half measurement we took earlier, like half of the armhole, we go up by half an inch. Yeah, we'll go up by half an inch and then come underneath that same half and go under by 1 inch. You'll see the use of this later on in the video. Then we need our nipple to nipple measurement. This is the one we're working with, is about 4 inches, so you go ahead to mark 4 inches on the half length of the top, and then mark 4 inches also at the under bust point, 4 inches also at the breast point of this top, and then we'll just go ahead to label it so that you know the exact point I fixed this marks on. It's more like a guide so you don't forget. Now I'm just going to connect, I will just go ahead to connect this point that I marked earlier from the half length point down towards the armhole. Now you remember the armhole we took up, the one that is half inches, the one above half of the armhole. You're going to connect this from the length down towards it. Do you understand it now? You're going to connect it now towards it. And then just immediately after the nipple to nipple measurements, we're going to impute 2 inches on the half length and on the under bust length. This is like the distance between your bust And then after we mark this, we're going to go ahead to connect it, and then at this breast point we're going to curve, we're going to make a curve towards the breast point and then take it down towards that line we came down 1 inch under the half of the armhole. I think it makes sense now. So now you're just going to go ahead and connect it. I hope you can see it clearly now. And we'll go ahead to replace the 2 inches we took out of this measurement while we're trying to impute the distance between the bust. These 2 inches we put there, we're going to go ahead to replace it so we can have an accurate measurement at the end of the day. So I'm just going to go ahead and impute this measurement and then connect it. So now we have the same measurements we had earlier, since I'm going to have to cut this part out. And now we are just going to go ahead to cut. I didn't increase the speed of this part because I want you to see exactly how I'm going to cut it out. That's why I didn't increase the speed, so you can follow properly and then you don't make mistakes while you're cutting yours. So just go ahead and watch this carefully. And now we are done cutting. Now this is the center piece. I'm just going to show you the sides, place them side by side, and then you'll see exactly how it should look like when you're done cutting. This way you already know it looks like a princess that's bustier. Yeah, I know. So this is how it should look like when you're done cutting it. Yeah, exactly like this. And now for the back piece. So I realized that the length of this pattern paper wasn't going to be enough, so I had to just join another pattern paper to it to be able to get the actual length I need. Okay, so now I'm just going to go ahead to impute the width of the top like we did earlier for the front piece. You know, this is now the back piece, and the depth, I don't need the top to be so deep, so I'm using about 1.5 inches for the depth of the neckline. So I just go ahead to connect them, impute my shoulder measurements as we all know, then go ahead to take the length of the armhole like we already know this, right? Go ahead to take the length of the armhole, and it's more like a repetition of the measurements we did earlier, but this time around we're not including breast point, underbutts. I think we're just using about 3 measurements, like chest line, half length line, or thereabouts. So we're just going to go ahead to impute this measurement here, and then take half the armhole measurements like we did earlier, and go up 1/2 inch, come down by 1 inch, connect it downwards just like we did earlier. Yeah, and then the next thing we're going to do is cut, but this time around the cutting is going to be different because of course we don't have breasts at the back, so that curve connecting towards the bust point is not going to be there anymore. Just go ahead and keep watching so you get what I'm talking about. Just keep watching. And now you remember the nipple to nipple measurements we imputed earlier, right? That 4 inches. We're just going to go ahead to impute the nipple to nipple measurements here. 4 inches, we just impute it so we can be able to connect for the center piece upward. And do not forget, since this is the back piece and it's going to have a zipper, there will be a zipper allowance. You can use 2 inches. 2 inches like the standard measurement for zipper allowance. So I'm going to go ahead to just mark it here for you to see in the course of this video, so please keep watching. And yeah, the wind decided to get featured in my video. Well, let's go ahead. And we're going to go ahead to impute the 2 inches measurements we did earlier. Just go ahead and put it here so we can be able to cut the side for this back piece. So just put it and then connect it down like you can see here. I think this back piece is really easy once you've drafted the front piece. So just go ahead, connect, draw your lines and cut.
Okay guys, so we've come to the end of this tutorial. I hope you learned something new from this. I'm sure this is like the easiest tutorial for princess that bustier you've seen. Please do not forget to like and subscribe to this channel. Please subscribe to this channel. Thank you. See you in my next tutorial. Bye.